What's up, everybody, and welcome to another exciting episode of the Navigating Dental Insurance Podcast. I am your host today, Jordon Comstock. Ben is out playing summer. I don't even know where he's at. I've lost track. He's probably in Florida or somewhere cool doing the haka because that's what he does. But today I got a really fun guest, Carrie Webber from Jameson Management. Carrie, welcome to the show. How you doing?
I'm good, thanks, Jordan. You know, Ben's gonna be real sad he missed this one.
I know, it's a party.
We have a lot of FOMO, and we're just gonna make him super jealous. You know,
yeah.
We're going to do all this summer fun. But yeah, thanks for inviting me to be on. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, absolutely. You guys have been on my list. I've wanted you on the show for a while, so I'm so glad we made this work today. So let's start with this. Let's introduce you to my audience. Tell people who you are, how you got into dentistry, because I'm sure there's some story there. We all have one. Yeah. And then once you're in dentistry, you're stuck in it forever, it seems like.
California career choices.
Yeah.
Young people will not understand that statement, but that's fine. So alongside my husband, Jess Webber, am the owner of the Jameson Group, and we are a business and hygiene coaching firm and leadership coaching firm, and we also are a full-service dental marketing firm. So actually, my dental story is not super exciting. I'm the second generation owner of the Jameson Group with my husband. My parents are Doctors John and Kathy Jameson. My dad is a retired dentist, and my mother actually started the Jameson Group, probably really kicked off in the late 1980s, in the 1900s. And was incorporated as a company in 1990, so it's 36 years old as we're recording this episode.
Very cool.
Yeah, and my husband and I have actually worked in the company for 26 of those years. My husband has a master's in health administration, and I studied marketing, and so together we just kind of worked alongside my parents for a little over a decade and have owned the company now for 13 years. And, you know, really just had the privilege of carrying it forward. My dad practiced for 30 years in a real small town in southern Oklahoma. But what he was able to do in such an unusual place and an unusual time was really out of the ordinary. He was doing comprehensive restorative and cosmetic dentistry in a place that you really weren't supposed to be that successful at doing something like that.
Wow.
And so he was a trailblazer in technology as he practiced, was one of the first of many of the things that were coming out in the profession at that time. And my mother was teaching the systems and the communication skills and those types of tools that helps a practice be successful. About halfway down the line, we decided to incorporate marketing services as part of our portfolio. And so we really try to help dentists and teams pursue and accomplish their ideal practice vision, whatever that means for them. And so we worked in every state in the country and in multiple countries worldwide. And so seen a lot.
Very cool.
Seen a lot, and have worked with every specialty, worked with every model of practice. And so, yeah, we've got a lot of stories that you gather over almost 4 decades of being.
Yeah, that's so cool. I didn't realize it was generational. That's kind of like my story. Except we come from the dental lab side of the industry.
Yeah.
So my grandpa owned a dental lab. He actually bought it from the original owner. The dental lab started in 1906 here in Utah.
Wow.
Salt Lake Dental Lab is the name. So original. And and then my dad bought into it, and then I ran the dental lab for maybe 8 years before I started Boom Cloud. But that was kind of my goal, was I was going to get into that family business. But then I discovered Boom Cloud, and I fell in love with that side of the industry. But no, that's really cool. I love hearing that. That's an interesting story. You got to give yourself more credit, Carrie.
Okay. I've told the story. It's my story.
Yeah, you're like, I've heard it 1,000 times.
You don't feel about your own story doesn't seem as interesting, perhaps, as it might be to other people.
I would tell people, I'm pretty sure I've got monomer in my blood because of the dental lab generations.
People ask me, how did you get into industry? And I said I was brainwashed.
Yeah. And now I can't get out. Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. Because for a long time, like when I was at the dental lab, I did want to get out. And then I had a mentor probably in my early 20s. And he sat me down and he's like, hey, like, why do you want to get out of dentistry? You know so many people, you know that how it works, the ins and outs. Like, why don't you build something for dentistry? And that got me thinking. I'm like, oh, well, okay, yeah, maybe. And then of course, Boom Cloud came from that, right?
Yeah.
But I originally didn't want to be in dentistry, and now I love it, right? I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
this is so fun being in dentistry. So, no, that's a really cool story. So generational, you guys have helped a lot of people in dentistry for a long time.
For a long time.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so I got some questions for you then, since you've seen it all. It sounds.
Okay, put me in the hot seat.
Yeah, I can put you in the hot seat. So, current state of the dental industry is kind of interesting. I've been watching it for a long time, but this year I've been watching it a lot, and I've been asking this question to a lot of our guests on the show. It's like, okay, the state of the industry's revenue is growing by 1.4%, and this is all from the ADA. And costs or expenses to run a practice is growing by 4.9%. So roughly a 1-to-4 ratio where revenue isn't keeping up with the just inflation of running a practice, whether it be payroll or supplies, or I'm sure there's many layers that you've seen, Carrie. But like, what are your thoughts on that? I have my thoughts because I only think about why do we work with insurance companies when they're impacting us? It's like when I look at those numbers, I'm like, okay, the PPOs are finally catching up to the industry because low reimbursements aren't going up with inflation, and they probably will never do that because they don't care. Yeah. But I'm just curious, what are your thoughts? What are you seeing out there?
Yeah, it's been, and I know, not to be a broken record and sound like maybe everybody else, but it has been something to watch, and a lot of heads being scratched, especially since the pandemic, I'd say in the last 6 years. And I'm not necessarily convinced that some of this didn't already exist pre-pandemic.
I think when I've read it, I think when I've read like into the data set, it's saying that this has been a 15-year issue. Yeah. Okay,
so then, so my hunch is...
Your hunch is correct, yes.
Correct. And what I think the pandemic did was magnified the cracks in the foundation, if that makes any sense.
Interesting, yeah.
We were too busy being busy to really... And then we were too busy trying to restart. And then we were too busy trying to figure out what the new normal was. And then we were too busy trying to find team. And then, and the next thing you know, our practices have no value.
Yeah.
So, one of the biggest things that we're discovering is, especially as doctors try to explore, like, can I sell my practice? What's my practice worth?
Sure, yeah.
So they get their practice's value, evaluation of the practice from companies, and there's no real value outside of the person that they are within their practice. And that's really important, I think, for doctors and practice owners to think about is, what model, what's your intention long term? So when you start thinking about, Jordon, any kind of business, our small businesses, we probably do. You've changed course. I've changed course. We do a lot of vision planning,
big time
planning, and vision casting of where you want to go, and that vision can change.
Yeah.
But I think doctors and practices, especially if you're still in the solo practice world, right? You got to think about, what do you want this to look like in the next few years, and make some really intentional decisions about the model that you're running, because to your point, cost of running a practice is going up and the profitability of a practice is going down. And so there's only a few ways that you can increase profit. You have to be more productive, increase your production, you have to increase your fees, you have to decrease your costs. And if you're in the insurance relationship piece of that, they are playing a determining factor on what you can actually do to become more profitable.
Yeah.
And so I'm not here to tell anybody to be a certain model of practice or not. I'm just here to tell people, you got to get real about what you want your practice to look like and what you want to accomplish, what you want to get out of it. Because salaries are going up,
Yeah.
and the labs, the supplies, all of that's going up. So we can't. No change means no change for the main piece, and you got to really think about what are your biggest problems. What are the things that are holding you back from being what you want your practice to actually be, and get serious about the model that you need to create. I mean, my dad had to do that a gazillion years ago.
Yeah, sure.
Get some vision into place and make some hard decisions and start running his practice in a way that helped him accomplish the kind of dentistry that he wanted to provide. And until people get their heads out of the sand and make some decisions about, number one, how they're spending their money, number two, who's taking their money, and the kind of dentistry they're providing, and the kind of patients they're attracting, and the way that they're taking care of those patients, and the team members that they're hiring, and the technology they're incorporating into the practice. You see it all puzzle pieces together.
Yeah.
And I'm really rambling, so sorry. I'm rambling a lot, but
No, you're good.
We talk about this a lot. We think about this a lot for the sake of our practices and the doctors that trust us to help them. And if you look at the ADA, the American Dental Association's Health Policy Institute, I don't know if you follow them, Jordon, but they put out a lot of surveys from dentists that have agreed to be part of their tracking.
Sure.
And they, for the last couple of years, they've asked the questions at the start of the year: what are the primary things you're worried about? What are the top concerns that doctors and practices are having? And the cost of the practice, insurance, and finding and keeping team for the last 2 years have been the top 3 concerns that dental practice owners have had to start off a year.
Yeah, I mean, I think about this all the time, and rewinding back the clock, at least for in my experience in the dental space, the biggest thing, back to cost, insurance, and team, the biggest thing, like when I managed my dad's dental lab back in the day, the biggest thing for us back then was this kind of the same thing: costs, oddly insurance, and I'll get to that in a minute, and then team, right? Finding the right people that can do our thing to do the job roles at the lab, right? Because dental labs are very similar to dental offices, right? Very similar in a weird way. But when I look back, 10 years ago, what caused me to stick my head up and be like, hey, something's wrong here. Right. Right? Was the insurance piece, because I remember doctors would call me at the dental lab all the time. They're like, hey, Jordon, this patient's on a really bad PPO plan. Yeah. And can you guys reduce your costs to help us out? Because if we do a case, we're not going to make money, and it's going to be really bad for us. And it's like, but I didn't sign the PPO contract. You did. Yeah. Right? So how I look at your statement there of cost, insurance, and team, or I guess it's the ADA, that seems like it hasn't changed for a very long time, because that was my motivating factor to get out of the dental lab and start Boom Cloud, right? Because I'm like, this is crazy.
Yeah. It's hard. It's hard for practices to think about, I'm going to have to do something different. I mean, it's scary.
Yeah, it is scary.
Fear of the unknown, of how that's going to play out, is probably the biggest deterrent for practices, making positive change for their businesses.
Yeah.
And it's important to keep in mind what the patients need.
Sure.
And so how do we balance this? How do we choose to be a healthcare provider that we ultimately want to take care of our patients and help them get what they want or need, while also having a healthy, growing, sustainable, thriving business?
Yes.
And I think if you look at medical a few years ahead of us, we probably, if we were paying closer attention, you saw medical, the medical world dealing with this.
Yeah.
And making good, bad, beautiful, ugly decisions based upon it. And I'm not saying that to scare everybody, but I think it's important that we watch, history's going to repeat itself.
Yeah, it will.
And so thinking about, what does your ideal patient experience look like? How do you help more patients get what they want or need, and help you provide the kind of dentistry you want to provide? And, I always say, whether you're choosing to be a PPO practice or a fee-for-service practice, both of those practices take an extraordinary amount of work.
Yes, they do.
Different. They're different models.
Yeah, like insurance admin work, patient experience work.
100%.
That's kind of how I think of it.
I always say, like, if you're going to be a PPO practice, you need to be a lean, mean, efficiently running machine.
Yeah.
And you need to do all of those things as efficiently as you possibly can. And if you want to be fee for service, you have to be just as efficient, but you also have to be at a next level of delivery.
Yeah.
And because a patient, if I'm going to pay you out of pocket, I want to experience the out of pocket.
I want a massage. I want a salt rub.
I want you to care that I'm there, right? I don't want to just be a number.
Yeah.
And there are things that each model, but all those models have to think about how do we be as profitable as possible without sacrificing patient care. And if you start feeling like your patient care is being sacrificed, I would consider that a massive red flag for the success of your business, because the moment you start ignoring your patient satisfaction, loyalty, the number of referrals you're getting, if you aren't delivering something exceptional, you're gonna die.
Yeah. Because
patients can choose to be with you or not. And, I think that's the thing about, Boom Cloud and services like what you're providing, Jordon. It's really important for practices to think about from the perspective of a patient, the consumer behavior and what consumers want. And what are your answers to that, dental practices? What are your answers to consumer demand? And we just can't pretend like we're a practice from 1990 anymore.
Yeah, I got two stories around what you just said, because I guess that's how I think in stories. One, years ago at the dental lab, we got a lab slip, okay? And it really bothered me because it said, and I have a picture of this somewhere on my phone, with the patient blurred out, of course. Just the instructions. It said, please make the cheapest restoration possible due to the patient's PPO plan. Right? Which, when you said, well, we still got to balance like quality and all that stuff that the patient experienced. Like if I were a patient, I read that, I'd be like, what the crap, doctor?
That's
like,
exactly right.
You give me the cheapest, like, for my mouth? Like, that's crazy. What if a medical doctor did that?
Right.
Please give the cheapest heart stint to this patient due to their... It's like, geez.
Typically, the nightmare stories that we all just kind of cringe, you read them or you hear them, you're like, oh my gosh, I don't know. what typically, if you really dig into that and assess what's happening in that story, there's a lot of miscommunication.
Probably.
And there's a lot of cut corners.
Yeah.
And if you combine the two of those things, if you cut corners and miscommunicate, that equates to one very unhappy patient.
Yeah. And bad, disaster from a restorative standpoint.
So, So I think, when I talk about, like, get a clear vision of what you want your practice to look like, how you want it to perform, how you want patient care to be, and get down into the nitty gritty, even about like how much money you want to be making. I mean, all of that's really important, because you're going to design the model that's right for your purpose, your vision of how you want to provide dentistry. And then you can build from there. You can build your messaging. You can build how you communicate to the patients. You can build how what kind of labs do we need to be working with? What kind of supplies do we need to have? And you need to have people with their eye on the money. That's another thing, is if we're talking about being profitable, it doesn't matter what model you're in. If nobody's paying attention, if nobody's paying attention to how much we're spending on supplies, but my good old buddy over here is taking care of me for 57 years. Well, I don't care.
I got another story.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know exactly what you're saying. I remember, so I've always been, I love business and I love all this stuff and I love marketing. And when I started with my dad and grandpa at the dental lab, because they literally operate very similar to a dentist, probably because they're working very closely to dentists, right? And one day I came in the lab and I'm like, hey guys, how much money do we make when we sell a crown to a dental office? Like, how much money do we make per crown? And they just sat there like, huh, I don't know, maybe like $50. And I'm like, did you just say maybe like? Like, you don't know? And I would imagine when you look at practices that kind of have their head in their sand, or they're not sitting down and they're looking at their vision and what they want to achieve, that's probably a common pattern of those types of practice owners, because they're not looking at things. And that's not really, I think you kind of get stuck in that motion. I don't know if it's because their practice owners are too busy and they don't have time to sit down and be like, okay, let's have a vision planning meeting.
No.
Because I do this every quarter with my team and my brother.
Some do.
You know?
Some do. And let me tell you, the ones that realize I need to take a step back and I need to really think this through, they make gains.
Yeah, I'm sure they do.
They make gains. They make the hard decisions. They course correct. They sharpen the saw. Like, they do all the things that they need to do. So yeah. Do
you? I mean, is that what you recommend when you say number one? Like, start with vision. Like, we are in an interesting time in dentistry, and it's no time to sit and just do business as usual. Mm-hmm. Stop and do you recommend doing like a whole day of vision planning of what the doc wants to achieve? Like, what do you typically go there? Let's go deep into that.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's something that we do. My husband and I lead, we call them blueprint sessions. And
okay, very cool.
With doctors, and they come to us wanting that for a multitude of reasons, Jordon. Like, they may be in a partnership and the two doctors aren't seeing eye to eye and they need to get on the same page and move forward. They may want to change the direction they want to take their practice. They may feel really stuck and just need somebody to help them get unstuck and figure out what they need to do next. So there's a lot of different reasons. And then some of our clients come back from every year or every other year and do it again because they just like having someone facilitating that.
Yeah, sure.
That planning, because it's a combination of vision planning and strategic planning. So, strategic planning 101 is, where are you now? Where do you want to go? How are you going to get there?
Yeah.
And so that's what we do. We talk about, where do you want to take this in the next year, in the next 3 years, in the next 5 years? What's it look like? What's happening? And however they want to lead that conversation. And then we go backwards and we say, okay, now where are you now compared to that? And what are the steps and strategies and goals and action items we need to take on to get you closer to that? So that's, I don't know how you do it without it, because you're just in it all day long.
I think
or you're chasing somebody else's idea of what success looks like, and that's not right for you. Like, giving yourself permission. I mean, we just have been talking about it. The multitude of models to practice dentistry. You could go join a DSO. You can be a PPO practice. You can go into a specialty. You could be very niche and do cosmetic. You can be fee for service. Whatever. There's so many ways that your practice can, and your practicing career could live out. It would be a shame to not hit the pause button from time to time and, take a breath and look around and say, am I where I want to be?
Do you recommend like doing that quarterly, yearly?
I would say yearly. Evaluating. I mean, if you can do it quarterly, that's fabulous.
This is how I do it. We do a yearly planning session, and then we tweak as we learn quarterly.
Yes.
Right? The vision remains the same, but maybe the tactics change because we're like, oh, we didn't think that's not operating the way we thought it was, so we got to tweak it.
Yeah,
that's kind of how we do it here.
I love that. The more, the better.
Yeah, sure.
the more you keep your eye on the ball and make sure you're going where you want to go and things are working. I mean, that's the evaluation piece of goal setting, right? So when you are goal setting, you're setting your goals, you're identifying who's responsible for each piece of each strategy, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're setting deadlines for yourself, and then you're giving yourself time to evaluate the progress of those goals. So that's what you're doing quarterly, right?
Yeah.
Um,
Exactly. Yeah.
but we want to be looking at how do we do this year? What was great? What was hard? What do we want to change? What are we going to focus on next year? What's that look like? And then get even bigger picture and be like, well, what are we working toward long term? What do I want this to look like? And especially if doctors are starting to feel like they want a change of season, basically.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many doctors I talk to that are like, well, in the next 5 years, I'd like to have some associates on, and I'd like to be working less, or I want to sell my practice in the next 7 to 8 years,
Sure.
or I want to, they're starting to look ahead, but it's such an overwhelming distance to them that they can't see how to get from here to there.
Interesting.
And that's a piece of it too. And I just think that, if we want to go specific for a moment about insurance and about where are you now, the least any of the people that listen to your podcast need to do for themselves, for any of you that are in, as Lois Banta says, in relationship with dental insurance, dental benefits, is evaluate your relationships with them. Audit your insurance relationships.
Yeah.
And if any practices that are listening have analytics dashboards, there's a lot of them now. The really good ones go deep enough in pulling data that you can audit your own patient base and look at how many patients are in each plan.
Yeah.
What's the treatment acceptance percentage of those plans? What's getting what are we actually, what are we writing off, and what are we actually collecting off those plans? And the aha moments that people have when they think, oh, I could never not be in network with XYZ.
Yeah, I've heard that.
Because I have so many patients, blah, blah, blah. But when they look at, oh, I do have all these patients that come in, and we do all of this stuff for them, and we make $5.
Jeez.
Yeah, I mean, I know that's a little extreme. Yeah. I'm being a little.
Yeah.
But
maybe some practices.
Really.
Yeah.
Because there are times where practices have this realization, I'm like, oh, I'm writing off 40-50% of this particular procedure. It makes them realize, oh, maybe this relationship isn't so great after all.
Yeah. No, I mean, we see that all the time too when it comes to all this stuff. It's like when they dig into, and we even have a little calculator that I give people. I'm like, just go add your production and your write-offs, whether you do it, as a whole, or you break it down by PPO plan. That'll give you your eyes will open and you'll be like, oh, okay, this is more doable than I think if I want to reduce a little bit of them. Mm-hmm. And one thing I've noticed too that a lot of practices are going is they're turning into more like hybrid fee for service with some PPOs.
Yeah,
right. That's what I see a lot, at least in my world. Right. That's what I'm seeing more of. I'm like, oh, this is really interesting. But then, I remember a doctor years ago in Texas. He's like, I was speaking. I believe it was with Gary Takis at mm-hmm. Dental Intelligence down the street here. Mm-hmm. And we had a study club that we did, and I was invited to come speak about, membership plans and all that stuff. And I was sitting next to this doc from Texas, and he was white the whole time, and you could tell he's stressed. I'm like, yo, doc, what's going on, man? And he's like, Jordon, I like what Gary's saying. I like what Dental Intelligence is saying about all the data. But if I drop Delta or whoever, my practice is going to be destroyed, right? That fear. Mm-hmm. And last week I had Howard Friend on the podcast. It was very fun. But his whole topic was we operate too much in fear in dentistry.
Yes.
And we should not do that, right? But then, I was talking to this doctor in Texas, and I'm like, hey, I totally get that is scary because you've been operating this way forever, and you're wanting to, trim some of the PPOs. And I'm like, well, what I recommend you do is build your membership plan up and look at how much write-offs you're making. Do a calculation to see how many members you need to patch that hole, and then you're good, right? And that's kind of what we've helped a lot of practice with that is like, hey, instead of like feeling fear and risk around this, let's create enough recurring revenue generated in your practice, then start dropping some PPOs and increasing patient experience as you learn, not all at once, right? And that's like one of my good buddies up in Idaho. They just dropped Delta this year because they hit like 800 membership patients on their platform on Boom Cloud. And now they dropped Delta at the beginning of the year, and now they're skyrocketing past 1,000 on their membership plan. And I'm like, that is so cool. But it's eliminating the fear, eliminating risk, having a plan. This practice that I'm talking about that dropped Delta, they did their vision planning meetings, just like what you discussed. It's really important because if you don't have a vision of what you're doing, most likely you're probably going to get burnt out really fast. And you don't probably want to do dentistry anymore if you don't have a vision for yourself. That's what I've experienced, at least running my own company. Because there was a point in time I didn't have a vision for my company. I was just kind of going. Yeah. Right? But the minute I had a vision, and it doesn't mean it's going to be easy, but it at least gets you a direction to point and bring your team along with you, right? Versus being like, I don't know what Dr. So-and-so is doing. Like, we're just here crunching numbers and working with insurance. You know what I mean?
And, I would rather make baby steps.
Yeah.
Towards a positive progress.
Sure. Yeah.
Stuck in this quicksand.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so I think it's important for anybody that's like, oh, this sounds great in theory, but it's just impossible. Well, nothing's impossible because every type of practice is out there and thriving somewhere by someone somehow.
Yeah, absolutely.
I would say if you don't know where to even begin, the vision planning is a great start. Don't let yourself be locked down and held hostage by shooting all over yourself. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
yes.
What you think you should do, or, well, this is the only way it can be. We've never done it this way. Our patients would never do it that way. The moment that's not vision planning.
Yeah.
That's, worrying.
What's the phrase? Doing the same thing over and over again and expecting the same different results is insanity.
But let yourself dream. There's this great book called Dare to Serve by a woman. Her name is Cheryl Batchelder, and she actually was an interim CEO for Popeye's Chicken.
Sweet.
Popeye's Chicken was floundering, was struggling, and she stepped in an interim position and talks about servant leadership is really what it's all about. But she always talks about building a daring destination, and where you're brave enough to paint the picture of daring destination that you want to take your business, and then creating a team and serving a team that will ultimately serve your customers to help you get there, right? Well, I love the idea of vision planning being where we're not entrapped by what we, any kind of debilitating beliefs that this could never happen, or our patients would never do this, or it's bound to fail.
Sure.
I mean, and then you assess, okay, now this is where I'd really love to take it. What's the reality of my situation now? This is my goal. What's my reality? And auditing your insurance plans if you're in it, having somebody help you evaluate your profit and loss. Look at your overhead. Look at your practice numbers. Look at your active patient count. Look at your patient attrition. Look at your facility. Look at your new patient numbers and where your new patients are coming from. The reality of everything that makes your business your business.
Yeah.
And pinpoint what would ultimately be the red flags that are preventing you from accomplishing whatever that daring destination is. And that's where you can start to build strategy. You don't have to take on everything at once, but you can prioritize things and say, let's take this on first. Let's get some wins. Let's help the team see, like, oh, if we work on this, we're going to get a positive result. And be persistent. I worked with a coach once that he said, How do you, it was basically how do you eat an elephant one bite at a time, but he called it pizza, which I really appreciated the pizza
Pizza
metaphor.
sounds better. I'm not going to eat an elephant. That's
Yeah, I've
weird.
never understood eating an elephant. So he says, how do you eat a pizza? You eat it one slice at a time. And so when you get overwhelmed at all the things that you wish or want or feel like you need to do to help your business get out of the rut,
Yeah.
just take a bite.
A bite every day, yeah.
Yeah,
And then you finish the pizza.
What's the big pizza? What pizza do you want? Now just take a bite out of it every once in a while, and you'll eventually eat the pizza. But don't be paralyzed by the overwhelm of what it's going to take to get to the daring destination. Just get in the car, man.
Yeah.
Or put on your shoes.
Yeah, start with that, yeah.
You need to get off the couch and put on your shoes. Evaluate the plans. Have a demo with Boom Cloud. I mean, you can't go
Do a vision planning with you guys, yeah.
email me and ask for a vision worksheet. You don't even talk to me. I'll email it to you. You don't even talk to me. Just tie the shoes. And I wish and I hope that more people would just be brave enough to start to claim what it is that is going to bring them joy and make them more fulfilled in their work. Because the more fulfilled workplaces there are out there, the happier our workforce will be, and the happier our patients will be. And I think we're seeing a lot of, you hear, see, and feel and experience a lot of the negative things that are going on. But you know what? There's a lot of great people doing great things out there. And for every unhappy patient that we hear a news story about, there are a dozen happy patients.
Yeah.
That
we tend to focus on the negative, don't we?
Right, that love their dentist, love to practice. Flip the script, people, and make a plan. And find the resources and the tools and the technology and the services that can help you get lift. I just believe that there's little things that we can do that can help us make progress and make us happier.
I love this. No, this has been such an awesome episode. I agree with you with vision and patient experiences and everything.
Sorry, everybody.
Yeah. Amen.
On the offering plate.
So, Carrie, somebody's listening to this, when this is live, they're going to be like, wow, I really need to do something. I need to go do my vision plan or whatever. How do they get in touch with you? What's like the best from like an experience standpoint? Do they schedule with you guys, do a consultation? Like, how do people work with you guys?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of, if we're just tying shoes, there's a lot of small steps. On our website, it's jmsn.com, which is Jameson without the vowels. And, we have the Jameson Files podcast. We have a blog. And then you can learn a little bit more about our services that we provide in all the different aspects of business building for dental practices. And if your curiosity is sparked enough that you want to talk specifically about yourself and your practice and explore what kind of support's out there for what you want to accomplish, then in that website you can request to have a discovery call with me. And I would be happy to reserve that time with anyone that is looking to take their practice to another direction or to another level, and see what support looks like for that.
Very cool. Okay, we'll put that in the show notes, the website, and then links to the discovery call. As I'm guessing you can find that on the website too.
Yeah.
And then you have resources too, like the vision planning worksheet and stuff.
Yes.
You send that to people.
So yes, if you go to our website and just email, hey, I saw Carrie on Jordon's podcast, the Navigating Dental Insurance podcast. Would you send me the vision worksheet that you mentioned? We would be happy to send that to you. No strings attached.
Nice. Very cool.
Yeah.
So at the very least, go get that because you're going to need it this year as we continue going down the path of current state of the dental the dental economy. But I would encourage you guys to go check out Carrie and what they're doing over there at Jameson. Carrie, it's been so fun having you hang out on the show today.
Thanks,
I really appreciate you coming on.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, and with that said, we hope everyone has a rockin' day.